Boarded-up storefronts, deserted downtown areas, municipal administrations struggling to reconcile budgets that refuse to align. Could your locality be the subsequent one? While towering skyscrapers continue to glisten and the urban hum persists, a silent predicament festers beneath the visible prosperity. What transpires when the tax base vanishes, when essential services crumble, when the financial obligations simply cannot be met? Certain United States cities are already precariously balanced, burdened by debt, diminishing populations, and commitments they lack the resources to uphold. These aren't isolated small towns, they are significant metropolitan centers, once flourishing, now facing decline. Is your own hometown verging on disintegration? Let's analyze the 10 U.S. cities most susceptible to failing first, should the economy falter. Stay tuned, as we'll offer concluding thoughts at the end of this analysis. The world stage has seen numerous significant events unfold recently, and it's crucial to examine them. Before we delve deeper, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Your support is immensely important for our growth and allows us to continue bringing you insightful content. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Please make sure to watch the entire video, as we will summarize key takeaways and conclusions at the end. Number 10. New York City. New York. Undeniably one of the wealthiest cities globally. However, behind the dazzling illuminations and multi-billion-dollar skylines, a grave issue lurks. Something is fundamentally amiss. New York City is submerged in over $171 billion of debt, and this figure doesn't even account for future pension liabilities. How does a metropolis that supposedly never sleeps manage to operate on fumes? The fragility of its foundation might astound you. The city carries a burden equivalent to $71,400 for every taxpayer. Should a substantial economic downturn strike, the Big Apple could decay from within. Consider the consequences. Schools become underfunded, services are drastically cut, and crime rates escalate. The perceived wealth may appear boundless, yet the bills relentlessly accumulate. Compounding the issue, more individuals are departing the city than arriving. Who remains to shoulder the financial load? Have you ever contemplated the outcome when a city of this magnitude begins to fracture? You might not recognize New York in the coming years. Number 9. Chicago, Illinois. It stands as the core of the Midwest. But what occurs when this vital center starts experiencing irregularities? Imagine the heart-skipping beats. Chicago is buried under $38.2 billion in debt. Coupled with an F grade for its fiscal well-being, the warning signals are already sounding loudly. It's surprising how many essential services and businesses have already vanished. Retail chains are departing in droves, leaving entire shopping districts eerily silent. What fuels this decline? A toxic combination of elevated crime rates, burdensome taxes, and prolonged financial mismanagement. But consider this staggering fact. Each resident effectively owes over $40,900 just for the city to reach a break-even point. This isn't merely a budget deficit. It's a stark warning shot. Therefore, when the economy inevitably faces turbulence, how long can Chicago realistically sustain itself? We're discussing not just a slowdown, but a potential complete collapse. Do you still believe major cities are immune? Before we proceed, please remember to click that subscribe button. Doing so enables us to continue providing eye-opening analyses like this one. Every share, every like assists us in digging into the realities that often go unnoticed. Is it a tropical haven, or a financial powder keg awaiting ignition? What if your idyllic getaway destination is actually among the most financially precarious locations in America? Stay with us, because the situation unfolding beneath the palm trees is something you won't want to miss. You won't believe what's happening just beneath the palm trees. Number 8. Honolulu, Hawaii. Imagine crystal clear waters, gently swaying palm trees, a quintessential dream destination topping nearly every traveler's wish list. But what if, concealed behind this picturesque postcard image, lies one of the most delicate economies in the entire United States? This is the startling reality concerning Honolulu, Hawaii, a city where stunning beauty masks an impending financial catastrophe. Receiving a failing fiscal grade and imposing a taxpayer burden close to $31,700 per individual, the fissures in its foundation are rapidly expanding. You would likely never suspect that this breathtaking island city is billions of dollars in the red. Yet the monetary challenges run deep. Tourism serves as the primary economic lifeline here. But what happens when global travel decelerates or ceases altogether, as witnessed during the pandemic? Over 220,000 jobs disappeared statewide, with Honolulu bearing the brunt of the impact. Hotel revenues plummeted, small businesses shuttered, and property values declined. Even today, many haven't fully recuperated. The city's government expends over $1.50 for every dollar it generates, a burn rate unsustainable even in robust economic times. And here's the crucial point. The cost of living in Honolulu ranks as the highest in the U.S., surpassing even San Francisco. Consequently, while residents grapple with affording basic necessities, the city persists in digging itself deeper into debt. Infrastructure is deteriorating, homelessness is increasing, and public workers possess massive pension claims that aren't adequately funded. Do you still believe paradise lasts forever? Reconsider. One severe economic downturn, and Honolulu could confront a financial tempest more devastating than any hurricane. Ever wonder what happens when the economy dries up in a place surrounded by water? You're about to find out. Number 7. Portland, Oregon. It once stood as a beacon of creativity and progress, a city where young individuals flock to begin anew, establish businesses, and embrace a free-spirited lifestyle. However, recently it seems something has gone drastically wrong. Portland, Oregon, has discreetly earned an F grade in fiscal health. If you examine beneath the surface, you'll understand why many assert it's teetering on the brink of collapse. The figures are stark. For every $1 of revenue collected, Portland's government has committed $1.40 in spending. A significant portion of this is allocated to pensions and post-employment benefits that lack full funding. In simple terms, they are operating at a loss, hoping the issue remains unnoticed. But people are taking notice. Escalating costs, rising crime rates, and diminishing business confidence have fundamentally shaken the city's core. Once vibrant commercial corridors are thinning out, and prominent retail stores are disappearing. But what's even more concerning, population growth has decelerated dramatically, even reversing in certain neighborhoods. When residents begin leaving faster than they arrive, the tax base erodes. That's precisely when a city can genuinely start to disintegrate. With over $2.8 billion in unfunded liabilities, and an economy susceptible to tech slowdowns and shifts in remote work trends, Portland is navigating a precarious financial tightrope. Can a city renowned for reinvention discover a path forward? Or are we witnessing the gradual unraveling of a place that once represented everything modern and bold? Before we continue, ensure you hit that subscribe button and support this series. It helps us bring more of these deep dives to your screen. And believe us, we've only just begun. More cities, more shocks, more truth. Number 6. New Orleans, Louisiana. You hear the trumpets, you see the beads. It evokes a sense of celebration. But beneath the jazz and the vibrant lights, a city is silently sinking in financial quicksand. Welcome to New Orleans, Louisiana, where culture flourishes, but the balance sheet is hemorrhaging. This is a location still reconstructing from Katrina, still recovering from COVID, and now confronting a looming fiscal cliff that most inhabitants don't even perceive. You'd be shocked to know New Orleans received an F grade in fiscal health, signifying the city owes considerably more than it generates. With a taxpayer burden exceeding $21,900, every resident is essentially burdened with a silent bill, whether they realize it or not. Revenue gaps persistently widen, while public infrastructure deteriorates under years of underinvestment. Add an over-reliance on tourism and hospitality, industries highly vulnerable to economic downturns, and the picture becomes increasingly bleak. But guess what's even more alarming? The city is responsible for hundreds of millions in pension and healthcare obligations that it simply cannot afford long-term. So, when the next recession hits, how long until the bills cease being paid? Public workers, emergency services, school funding, all hang precariously in the balance. And if you believe FEMA or federal aid constitutes a permanent safety net, think again. What happens when the next hurricane rolls in and the funds are already depleted? New Orleans might be resilient, but resilience doesn't settle the debts. The charm persists, but the mathematics are undeniable. And when cities collapse, they don't implode spectacularly. They quietly fade into broken systems and desperate budgets. Number 5. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's one of the oldest cities in America, the birthplace of independence. But nowadays, it's not liberty that's ringing. It's warning bells. Beneath the historic brick buildings and iconic landmarks, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is caught in a financial freefall. The city earned a failing grade in fiscal health, saddled with a taxpayer burden nearing $27,600, among the worst in the nation. But guess what? Most residents remain unaware of how dire the situation has become. The city government spends more than it earns, year after year, depending on unstable revenue and temporary fixes to mend massive financial holes. Debt is escalating, services are contracting, and pensions are severely underfunded. Philadelphia currently holds over $11 billion in unfunded liabilities, and this amount isn't decreasing, it's growing. Combine this with a shrinking middle class, declining public school enrollment, and an exodus of younger residents, and the indicators couldn't be more apparent. If the economy takes a nosedive, Philly won't have a cushion, it'll face a crater. But here's the element that strikes hardest. This isn't merely about figures, it's about tangible impact. Delays in trash pickup, closed libraries, slower emergency response times, crumbling roads, these are already occurring. And if a full collapse materializes, circumstances could shift from difficult to unlivable. Still think your city is too historic to fail? Before moving on, take a second to subscribe and support this channel. Your support allows us to keep pulling back the curtain, one city at a time. There's so much more to reveal. And trust us, the next one might just surprise you. Number 4. St. Louis, Missouri. Once the gateway to the West, now potentially a gateway to financial ruin. At first glance, you might not anticipate it. But behind the skyline and the historic charm, St. Louis, Missouri, is contending with a profound fiscal crisis that could lead to collapse if the economy takes a downturn. You'd be shocked to learn that this city ranks among the worst in America concerning fiscal responsibility. According to data from Truth in Accounting, St. Louis has consistently received a D, or lower in financial health, with an increasing taxpayer burden and a shrinking population. Right now, the city owes more than $1.1 billion in unfunded pension and healthcare promises, bills it simply cannot afford. But guess what? The economic engine that once propelled St. Louis, manufacturing and industry, has been in decline for decades. Jobs departed, people followed. The city's population has decreased by over 60% since its peak in 1950, leaving behind decaying infrastructure, vacant buildings, and a tax base incapable of keeping pace. Every time someone moves out, that's less revenue for roads, schools, and safety. And the residents who remain? They are the ones shouldering the escalating debt. Public services have already begun deteriorating. Crime rates are among the highest nationally, and schools struggle to uphold basic standards. With fewer than 300,000 residents remaining, the city's capacity to sustain itself is in serious jeopardy. So, what transpires when the next recession strikes, when funding evaporates and federal support diminishes? For St. Louis, there might be no safety net remaining. Number 3. Dallas, Texas. It's expansive, it's audacious, it's thriving. Or is it? With gleaming skyscrapers and a business-friendly reputation, it might come as a surprise that Dallas, Texas, is carrying financial burdens substantial enough to potentially break it in the next economic crash. You'd be surprised to discover that despite its rapid expansion, Dallas received an F grade in fiscal health from independent watchdogs. The figures don't deceive. The city is confronting more than $3 billion in unfunded liabilities, and the disparity between its obligations and its ability to pay is only growing. Every taxpayer would need to contribute over $13,500 just to cover the existing shortfall. But guess what's intensifying the situation? Dallas has been relying on borrowing and future revenue projections that might not materialize if a downturn occurs. Property values are climbing, but so are the associated costs. Infrastructure is aging. Police and fire pensions face difficulties. And all this unfolds while the city scrambles to accommodate population growth that's exceeding its resource capacity. And here's the truly concerning aspect. For all its affluence, Dallas lacks a genuine rainy day fund capable of shielding it from a major crisis. The appearance of prosperity is genuine, but underneath lies a budget stretched to its absolute limits. If the national economy falters, Dallas won't be insulated. In fact, it could be among the first to experience the repercussions. Before we continue, pause for a moment to subscribe and activate notifications. Every like, every follow assists us in digging deeper, posing the difficult questions, and delivering stories like these directly to you, because most people remain unaware until it's too late. Number 2, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Once an industrial powerhouse, now a city quietly burdened by billions in debt. What occurs when the Steel City's foundations start to corrode? Stick around. The figures might astonish you. Steel constructed it, industry characterized it. But beneath the grit and pride of this historic American city, something perilous is silently unfolding. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a city once forged in iron, is now buckling under the weight of debt, economic stagnation, and population decline. Factors that could collectively explode if the economy crashes again. You'd be shocked to learn that Pittsburgh owes over $1.5 billion in long-term debt, and that excludes hundreds of millions more in unfunded pension and retiree healthcare promises. And here's the critical point. Each taxpayer would need to pay nearly $16,000 just to bridge the gap. That's not merely a problem, it's a significant red flag. Once a booming center of steel production, Pittsburgh has struggled to fully reinvent itself within the modern economy. Yes, technology and education sectors are growing, but the city's overall population has fallen by more than 50% since the 1950s, leaving behind dilapidated neighborhoods and shrinking revenues. With fewer taxpayers and higher costs, the city now spends more just to maintain the status quo. But guess what? The city's pension system remains underfunded by nearly 30%, meaning that when the next downturn arrives, Pittsburgh could be compelled to cut services, delay payments, or raise taxes simply to stay solvent. Public transit, policing, even garbage collection. Nothing is exempt from budget cuts when finances tighten. And here's something rarely discussed. Pittsburgh's aging population. With more retirees and fewer young workers, the economic base is weakening. Who covers the costs when more people are drawing from the system than contributing to it? It's a city attempting to rise, but if the financial foundation collapses, it could fall faster than anyone anticipates. Number 1, Miami, Florida. Sunshine, skyscrapers, speedboats, and high-rise condominiums. But beneath all the glamour, Miami, Florida, is confronting a financial storm that nobody discussed. Until now. You'd be shocked to discover Miami carries nearly $2 billion in unfunded pension and retiree healthcare obligations, debt that's accumulating faster than the city can handle. Even more concerning, Miami operates on an extremely thin margin, spending almost everything it brings in, leaving no room for error. In fact, the city has received a failing fiscal grade, ranking it among the most financially vulnerable in the country. But guess what? The situation becomes even more intricate. Miami is also one of the most climate-vulnerable cities in the U.S. Rising sea levels and severe hurricanes are already inflicting millions in damages. Yet the city continues to underinvest in long-term protective measures. Infrastructure requires upgrades, insurance costs are soaring. Simultaneously, housing affordability is plummeting. Wages aren't keeping pace, homelessness is on the rise, and many developers are reconsidering their investments. Tourism and real estate are Miami's economic pillars, But both sectors are highly susceptible to downturns. One significant blow and thousands of jobs could vanish overnight. Without a diversified economy or substantial emergency reserves, Miami could spiral rapidly. Add the escalating cost of living, and residents are already stretched thin. So the question arises, what happens when the funds deplete, severe weather strikes, and the outstanding bills become due? It's not merely a beach destination. It's a city navigating a financial tightrope. 10 cities, 10 warning signs. From iconic skylines to historic neighborhoods, each of these locations stands on precarious ground. Debt is mounting, populations are shifting, and the safety nets are fraying. When the next economic crash happens, and it inevitably will, some cities may not recover. The reality is, collapse doesn't always manifest as immediate chaos. Sometimes it's a more gradual decline, a budget cut here, a neglected streetlight there. Then, one day, you realize your city is no longer what it once was. If this video provided valuable insight, please support us. Subscribe so you don't miss future analyses. Like the video to help more people see it, and share it, because someone you know might be residing in one of these potential ticking time bombs. We have more cities, more stories, and more truths to uncover. Until then, remain vigilant, stay informed, and keep watching.